Good morning, dear readers. I'm so very happy today because I saw that you have been 40 reading with me. And you know the rule of 10. As long as we are 10 people reading, I go on reading this beautiful book. It's one of the most famous books in the world, Les Misérables, written by Victor Hugo. And so we were talking about Jean Valjean. And so he laughed really rarely, but when he laughed, he had un rire ou le rire du démon, the laugh of a demon. Okay, so let's read. We're going to read 2 pages today. You know, it's not very easy, but I'm sure you can do it. So, à le voir, il semblait occupé à regarder continuellement quelque chose de terrible. So looking at him or seeing him, he seemed busy looking permanently all the time. So permanently looking at something terrible. Pour résumer, en terminant, ce qui peut être résumé et traduit en résultat positif dans tout ce que nous venons d'indiquer, nous nous bornerons à constater que. And I think I'm going till there because it's a very, very long sentence. So, to summarize and finishing, so like, yes, finally ending everything he's saying about Jean Valjean. What can be summarized and translated in positive results in all that we have just indicated. And here you see the construction venir de. Venir de is translated in English by we've just. It's the fact that you've just done it, which you call the recent past. So he says, like, we're summarizing the thing, and so of all the results that we have been indicating now, nous nous bornerons, no, I read it already, à constater qu'en 19 ans, Jean Valjean, l'inoffensif émondeur des Faverolles, le redoutable galérien de Toulon, était devenu coupable. So this is the second part we read. So, nous nous bornerons, we will limit ourselves, we will, yes, we will limit ourselves. To constater means to observe that in 19 years, so the 19 years is the time Jean Valjean was in prison. In 19 years, Jean Valjean, the inoffensive or harmless tree cutter of Faverolles. Faverolles, it's a city, at least a place. The feared gallery slave of Toulon had become capable of. And so this is now the next part. So of everything we've been saying about him in 19 years, this is what he has been able to do, or, well, let's read. Grâce à la manière dont le bagne l'avait façonné, de 2 espèces de mauvaises actions. Oh yes, so he was capable, thanks to the manner or the way in which prison had façonné, had shaped him. He was capable of 2 kinds of bad actions. Okay, so I hope you're all following me. Now we're going to explain which 2 bad actions Jean Valjean was capable of. Premièrement, d'une mauvaise action, rapide, irréfléchie, plein d'étourdissement, tout d'instinct, sorte de représailles pour le mal souffert. So first of all, premièrement, he was capable of a bad action, which was quick, unthinking, but maybe we could say thoughtless or careless, full of étourdissement is lightheadedness, so not very well thought, all by instinct, a kind of retaliation for the pain he suffered. So that was the first kind of bad actions he was capable of. Deuxièmement, d'une mauvaise action grave, sérieuse, débattue en conscience et méditée avec les idées fausses que peut donner un pareil malheur. So, deuxièmement, in the second place, so he was capable of a bad action, grave, yeah, bad, serious, and débattu. Debated in his conscience means well thought of, debated in his conscience, and meditated with the false ideas that can give such a misery. So all that misery, everything he lived through, gave him false ideas, well, about society, about people, and so on. Le point de départ, comme le point d'arrivée, de toutes ces pensées était la haine de la loi humaine. So, the starting point as the arrival point of all his pensées, his thoughts, were hatred of the human law. So that was what he hated most, and everything he thought of was, well, in the light of the hate of the human law. Cette haine, qui si elle n'est arrêtée dans son développement par quelque incident providentiel, devient dans un temps donné la haine de la société, puis la haine du genre humain, puis la haine de la création. And I translate already till there, otherwise it's going to be too long. So, this hatred, which if she, well, in French you say she, because hatred it's she, but in English we will say it. If it is not stopped in its development by some providential incident, becomes, in a given time, the hatred of society, and then the hatred of the humankind, human race, and then the hatred of creation. So they are saying, if you do not stop this, then his hatred will be worse and worse and against the whole world. So the last part of this sentence, very, very long, et se traduit par un vague et incessant et brutal désir de nuire n'importe à qui, à un être vivant quelconque. So this hatred then translates itself by a vague and constant, so incessant but constant and brutal desire to nuire, to harm or to damage n'importe à qui, to whomever, to any living being whatsoever. I hope you understand, but I think you do. I know I have very, very clever subscribers. So really, the hatred he built up in prison will get worse if not something is done. Comme on voit, ce n'était pas sans raison que le passeport qualifiait Jean Valjean d'homme très dangereux. So as one can see, it was not without reason that the passport qualified. Yes, the passport qualified, or the passport mentioned the qualification, Jean Valjean, a very dangerous man. So this was on his yellow passport. You know, people who went to prison had a yellow passport. D'année en année, cette âme s'était desséchée de plus en plus, lentement, mais fatalement. So from year to year, when the years went by, this soul had been dried up. Sec or sèche means dry, had been dried up more and more, slowly but fatally. À cœur sec, œil sec. Yes, that's kind of an expression. We could translate it in English by a heart dry, eye dry. So if your heart is dry, your eyes are dry. And it really means if you don't have emotions in your heart, you cannot see misery, or you cannot feel any empathy, seeing misery in other people, so you cannot have any empathy. That's really what it means. À sa sortie du bagne, il y avait 19 ans qu'il n'avait versé une larme. So, at the exit or the release of prison, il y avait. So, il y avait could mean there was, but can also mean ago. And here, I think it really means ago. So 19 years ago, or during 19 years, he had not shed a tear. Not good. Not good, not good. Last part of this page. Quand vint l'heure de la sortie du bagne, quand Jean Valjean entendit à l'oreille ce mot étrange, « Tu es libre », le moment fut invraisemblable et inouï. Un rayon de vive lumière, un rayon de la vraie lumière des vivants, pénétra subitement en lui. So now we're going to describe the feeling when he was released from prison. So, when came the hour or the time of the release from prison? When Jean Valjean heard to his ear the strange word, "You are free," the moment was incredible and inouï, unheard of. Louis is the hearing, is what you hear, so unheard of. A ray of vivid light, a ray of real light of the living, penetrated or entered suddenly in him. So this light, thinking, oh, now I am finally free. Mais ce rayon ne tarda point à pâlir. And this is a very sad sentence because it says, but this ray of light did not wait, you see, point can also mean, is a synonym of pas, not, did not wait to turn pale or to fade. So this feeling of freedom did not last long. Jean Valjean avait été ébloui de l'idée de la liberté. So Jean Valjean had been blinded, but ébloui, it's like blinded by light, by the idea of liberty, of being free. Il avait cru à une nouvelle vie. He had believed in a new life. Il vit bien vite que c'était qu'une liberté à laquelle on donne un passeport jaune. So he saw very quickly what was the liberty to which one gives a yellow passport. So you are free, but you have a yellow passport, and that means people know forever that you were in prison. Okay, so we're going to the next page, second page, last page. Et autour de cela, bien des amertumes. And around that, there was quite some bitterness. Hein? Amer, this word means bitter. Il avait calculé que sa masse, pendant son séjour au bagne, aurait dû s'élever à 171 francs. So he had calculated that sa masse, it really means his weight, but here it means his weight in money, so his purse, we could say, during his journey, his stay in prison, would have been or should have been elevated to 160.11 francs. So yes, this is like 171 francs. Because in France, they don't say 70, they say 70, 60 and 10. So this is really 171 francs. Now you don't have francs anymore in France. Now you have euro, but that was at that time. And not so long ago, it was in 2001. Until 2001, I think there was French francs. Il est juste d'ajouter qu'il avait oublié de faire entrer dans ses calculs le repos forcé des dimanches et fêtes qui, pour 19 ans, entraînait une diminution de 24 francs environ. Ah, so it is right to add that he had forgotten to make enter in his calculations the forced rest. Sometimes they were forced to rest on Sundays and celebration days, which for 19 years had resulted in, yes, we can say that, a diminishing or a reduction of 24 francs, more or less. So he had lost that because he had calculated per day, but certain days they were not allowed to work. Quoi qu'il en fût, cette masse avait été réduite par diverses retenues locales à la somme de 109 francs 15 sous qui lui avait été comptée à sa sortie. So whatever it was, whatever the calculation was, his purse, this weight of money, had been reduced by different local retenue. Yeah, retenue is really sums that you withhold. Sums withheld to the sum of 109 francs 15 cents, which had been counted to him at his release or his exit of prison. So he had less money than he thought he would have. Il n'y avait rien compris et se croyait lésé. So he had understood nothing and he believed himself lésé means wronged or maybe robbed. Ah no, here this means wronged and disons le mot volé. So let's say the word, he felt volé, robbed. In his head, he was robbed of this money that they owed him. Le lendemain de sa libération, à Grasse, il vit devant la porte d'une distillerie de fleurs d'oranger des hommes qui déchargeaient des ballots. So the next morning of his liberation, of his release of prison, in Grasse, it's a place still very known, he saw in front of the door of a distillery of orange flowers. So he saw men who were unloading bales. I don't know, bales of what? Of straw? No, I don't think straw. Probably something with flowers, but anyhow, bales. Il offrit ses services. He offered his services. So he said, I can work for you. La besogne pressait. On les accepta. So the work was urgent. Pressé means it's urgent. And they accepted les. And les, it's the reference to his services. So they accepted his services. Il s'est mis à l'ouvrage. So he put himself to work. Il était intelligent, robuste et adroit. He was intelligent, robust, and skilled. Il faisait de son mieux. He did his very best. Le maître paraissait content. The master or the boss seemed happy. Pendant qu'il travaillait, un gendarme passa, le remarqua et lui demanda ses papiers. So during the time he was working, a policeman passed. So yes, before you had gendarme and policier. I think nowadays you only have, at least in Belgium, you only have police and not gendarmerie. So a policeman passed, noticed him, and asked him his papers. Il fallut montrer le passeport jaune. So il fallut, it's again this form of il faut. It was necessary to show the yellow passport. Cela fait, Jean Valjean reprit son travail. When this was done, Jean Valjean took up again his job, his work. Un peu auparavant, il avait questionné l'un des ouvriers sur ce qu'il gagnait à cette besogne par jour. So a little bit beforehand, he had questioned one of the workmen on what they were earning to this job per day. So what did they earn per day? On lui avait répondu, they had answered him, so the workman had answered him, 30 sous, 30 cents. Le soir venu, comme il était forcé de repartir le lendemain matin, il se présenta devant le maître de la distillerie et le pria de le payer. So the night come, when the night had come, as he was forced to leave again the next morning, he presented himself in front of the master, or the master or the boss of the distillery, and prayed him or asked him to pay him. Le maître ne proféra pas une parole. So the master did not utter one word. Et lui remit 25 sous. And gave to him, remettre is to give, he gave to him 25 cents. Il réclama. He disagreed. Réclama is, I'm not agreeing, this is not what I thought it would be, so he disagreed. On lui répondit, they answered him, cela est assez bon pour toi. That is sufficiently good for you. Il insista, he insisted. Le maître le regarda entre les deux yeux et lui dit, gare le bloc. So the master looked at him between his two eyes and said to him, watch out for prison. Le bloc, and I think, yes, it's here, you see, here at the bottom of the page, la prison. It's prison. It's a synonym of prison. Watch out for prison. Là encore, il se considéra comme volé. There again, he considered himself as robbed. La société, l'État, en lui diminuant sa masse, l'avait volé en grand. The society, the state, by diminishing his money, had robbed him in a big way, en grand. Maintenant, c'était le tour de l'individu qui le volait en petit. And now it was the turn of the individual who was stealing him in for smaller amounts. So he had been stolen, been robbed by society, by the state, and now even by individuals. Libération n'est pas délivrance. So liberation is not delivery. On sort du bagne, mais non de la condamnation. So one gets out of prison, but not out of conviction, condamnation. So this is really, really very sad. It's the story of the prisoner. He has done 19 years of galley slave work. He's now out of prison, but wherever he goes, he has to show his yellow passport, and he understands that this will follow him wherever he goes. But thank you for reading with me. I hope even now we're almost on holidays. Me, I'm only on holidays the 15th of July. Maybe you're already on holidays, but keep reading. This is so good for your general knowledge and the French language. Hope to see you next week. Bye.